interviewed your friend?
No, I didn't interview him yet.
Are you able to? Is that something
Yeah, no, I will
you'd
be
able
able
to
to.
do?
It'll be online, but I'll be able
No,
to.
that's cool. But what prisons has he been in? Have any of them been for us?
He's been to,
Okay, so in a tweet, in a headline, what's the
Like you said, as far as we the same student tuition fees have gone up, but we won't necessarily notice that until we've left university. Living fees have gone up, but we've looked quite much into a lot of it, and it hasn't really, those basic things that students need haven't really gone up that much. So yeah, we're trying to look at whether people are being forced into it or not.
Yeah, but if it's managing media project,
Most of the information we've found has suggested that people are. There's no real reason that someone would fit as a student be forced into prostitution, because the money that we have and that all students have access to is more than enough to live on.
So there's a student prostitution in university, like university students.
Yeah.
Becoming prostitutes to fund and so it is happening.
Well, it's happening, but the numbers are small. I think there's in the sex trade rather than just in prostitution, so like lap dancing, like that kind of thing. But it's a small number that seems to be the people that are doing it and have chosen to do it, and they don't want to be seen as being forced into doing it, whereas that's what the media kind of portrays student prostitutes as.
Oh no, like rising tuition fees, they have to sell their bodies. Whereas you're finding, so it is happening, but in small numbers, and because out of choice. Why? Why?
Really, just to fund a lifestyle that they
To fund a lifestyle over and above what normal students would expect to be able to do. Have you spoken to them?
We haven't actually been able to access any prostitutes. I've found a laptop.
The mature student as well, which I thought was an interesting point to another, because people don't think mature.
Okay.
People seem to think of like, early 20s, teen sort of students, but they seem to forget that there are like mature students, and when like they are being forced into it with their.
So how did you find out that it is happening, that it's a minority choice?
I've contacted different like charities and stuff, and they've said that they've got no record of like students coming to them for like help or anything, which I suggest that they aren't prostitutes that are students, or that they're not seeking help well for it because they don't feel like they're being forced into it. And like there's lots of people talking on forums like for prostitutes that are students, and they're happy with the choice that they've made to go into it, and they don't like the way that they're being portrayed in the media.
Someone else you've spoken to said that?
Well, it's on a blog thing, but I was going to speak
That's
to.
quite good. The student prostitute says, I'm happy with my choice.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, because this is
Different numbers, like different areas, like
100%
our community manager has
figures can be quite
spoken.
hard to get, to be honest, is something that
She spoke to 100 students, I think it was in Birmingham, and of how many knew of people who were in the industry, and it was like 23 out of 100 actually knew someone working.
someone.
Yeah.
but not actually
like-
20 out of 100 are working.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to find out, like, because people
It's
aren't going
almost
to
a
come
filter
forward.
students who know someone who's working in the sex industry.
Yeah. So yeah, if he's
How much money's involved? You can isolate.
And people phone up, why didn't you just phone us up and ask them? We could have told you this over the phone. And you get a bit excited by FOIs because you're like, I want to do an FOI, I want to do an FOI. And then you do it and you fill out the form, and actually you could have just phoned the press office and they would have just happily told you. So if there's anything else you want, just give them a call and say, FOI is good for if people are stalling and going, no, I'm not going to tell you that, I'm not going to tell you that, but actually legally they have to. That's when an FOI comes in.
I think it changes as well as we're getting closer to the deadline. Like at the start, you can put FOIs from put the grammar in. Now we just need results.
As I say, I thought FOIs are useful if you've spoken to somebody and they say, yes, we've got the information, but we're not going to tell you, or they're just delaying and they're stalling. Because sometimes people don't want to tell you things, especially if they're bad numbers. You know, if it's a company who's had it's a council who's lost millions of pounds, they're not going to go, yeah, lost £6 million, that's good. But an FOI request will make things tax whereas actually sometimes press officers are like, yeah, there you go. You don't need an FOI request at all, so a bit more phone banging, but it sounds like you're on the right thing. And you've got isn't it nice when an FOI request comes back? You're like, what?
Yeah. We've got a little bit of an issue, but like with the netwitch in this, she's doing like a big timeline of the whole Culture Olympia. Brett's helping her with that. What else can networks? I mean, my interpretation of networks is the people around. Well, I don't know. Is it? That's what it is. Is it? Is the people who are involved, like the networks behind the Culture Olympia?
Network, I'd say, is more about the background and the research that kind of tools all put together.
Right. So, what would you suggest that keep so I'm still a bit.
So you're doing about the.
Perhaps because I've never been there. I'm not very.
It's a weird old role. It's a weird old role. And a lot of people
like it's too similar to the community manager. That's what I feel like it is.
I define it as all the kind of background and all around the outside, apart from the stuff that John's running. So does that make sense? And that's the only way I've been able to actually understand it is that the community manager is what's dealing with the people and the people affected and the case studies and the ones right there. Network journalist kind of pulls in a bit other information, so the background and the history and wider issues. So Cultural Olympiad, what's the point of it? What is it? Can you explain it?
And that's what you've been doing because you've done a couple of posts of like ancient background, which is good, and then now bringing it more up to recent and what's happening.
I would never have seen a few years back there wasn't such thing as a Cultural Olympiad. It was just the Olympics, and you had the Olympics and people ran and jumped up and down and ran quickly and jumped high, and then suddenly culture's kind of sprung into it. People start dancing like. How does that fit into the Olympics? Now, actually, that's really because looks like you've been doing the background about why, how it's all brought into it.
Yeah, why they decided to make it like official. I think that's a good lead to go down. Why, who said actually we'll call it this and we'll do it that? Because it probably did go on before, but just didn't have a title.
Yeah, there were probably events going on, but it's But yeah, the background of why it is, what's the point of it, who's involved in it, who pulls it together, who runs it.
So can I actually still speak to people? Can I still email?
Yeah, absolutely. You can still do all your research, absolutely. I think your community manager is probably more dealing with the communities involved in the Cultural Olympiad. So any forums that are talking about it, any groups that are organised in it. Does that sort of make sense?
Could take as well
The communities.
maybe like a feminist view, because Jennifer said that apparently it was like the men did the sport and the women did the thing. So like
Women do dancing and men do running.
yeah, no, but you could take a feminine, like you don't have to get all like booing your bras, but you
Like how women weren't even allowed to attend.
exactly. No, I think that's really interesting as well. Like obviously not for the final thing because we're basing it on region, but it's still interesting for the investigation.
Yeah, I mean, make sure, especially at this late stage, make sure you don't get too far off track because obviously you're trying to pull things together and it is quite easy to go, quick, do stuff, do work, quick, get posts out, and actually it might be unrelated to the piece. But yeah, as you're doing regional, and you've got the data about, have you got the data regional spending and
We've got spending might be
Yeah, that's what we did. I got the the proportion of events across the UK. Like I did some highlights on that, but I need to do actual funding to get figures rather than just how many events are in London, how many events.
well, there's what events cost because obviously it could be really expensive events in North Wales. And you get £6 million for one event.
Well, yeah, because I spoke to somebody who's got from the Unlimited strand, which is a disabled thing. He said there's it's a big pot of money for not a lot of people. So I was like, why is that? Is it they're trying to encourage that, or is it that do you know what I mean? Do you do it there's a lot of people there, we give them more money, or do you do them, there's not a lot of people there, let's give them more money to, do you know what I mean? It's like reinforcing or encouraging.
Have you got regional breakdowns in studies? Where the money's going and which parts of the country have got the most money?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of key to your thesis, is working out where. Have you got a list of all the organisations that have been?
Yeah, we should do. I'm sure.
What, like
who's got how much? Like so and so got that
because I did not for every single event though. I think it'd be almost impossible to get for every single event. Like there's so many.
Does the but isn't all the pot of money coming out of one location?
Not really.
Like, where does the money come from?
There's like different organisations. There's like the Arts Council. It depends on what events there are. Because they've got like film events, and that's coming from
Film Council.
yeah. And there's just like it's complex.
it's not like this is, it's not kind of like no qualities, do you know what I mean? I mean, I know they are a little, but not really involved. It's more
They're one of the main ones.
It's more like they've broken it down regionally and said, right, West Midlands, use your Arts Council and use this and use this, and we'll give money to the Arts Council. So it's really heavily involved in the Arts Council.
Okay. Have you spoken to the Arts Council?
Yeah.
The Arts Council? How to get to the Arts Council? It's a completely different council.
Well, I spoke to this one girl who's doing research, and she's, because I said, oh, why are you doing this research then? Is it going to go into a big pot where no club say, look how good it is? And she said, no, West Midlands have just decided to do an evaluation of it to kind of see how much tourism is coming in as well.
Okay.
And now, it started in 2008, so that's what she did, and now other, like, I don't know, Culture Olympiad for East Midlands or whatever are just starting to evaluate it now.
Right, and obviously having to chase each region like that. What you almost need to find is there one person who's overseeing the whole thing? So obviously we've got the Arts Council who does that.
Ruth, yeah, she did Mackenzie, yeah.
So it's her. So where's she from? What's her? Who does she work for? What's her?
She's like the main director of the Culture Olympiad.
Yeah.
Okay, so have the Cultural Olympiad got figures of what's going on? Because surely they must be overseas. It can't just be around.
The block are still business.
Now though, it's managed by you. So I wouldn't do a comparison.
Yeah.
Got another interview, but other than that, maps, any map should I do?
Well, you can only generate maps from data.
Exactly.
So,
I can do one of theirs.
yeah, I think that might be a nice simple map that brings that to life. Yeah,
Sorry, maps. I've been looking.
use there's a tool called Batch Geo.
Yeah, what is that one? I went on it, I don't understand it.
All you do is you copy your data from the spreadsheet and paste it into the box on batchgeo.com, and then you click generate map.
So if I copied and pasted all of this,
You need the addresses, obviously, for it to map it.
oh, the actual, oh, so it would have to be like a table or something.
Yeah, you want a table with the address, ideally a postcode or some other kind of information. I'll try and show you later if you've got time.
Okay. I need to find a table for that now.
But I'll make a list of things that you need to know.
Yeah.
So if you need to know, like you said, make a list of that and then come back to us later and we'll do a workshop about something. Anyway, in answer to your question, try ringing the press offices. FOI FOI will always take longer, so go through the press offices as
Still
well.
waiting for one of them.
So ring them up and ask for that, for staffing numbers. And get numbers over time as well, so just a snapshot of 1 year isn't going to tell you much, but if it's changed over time, then that's going to be better. And speak to people who are experts in the field, so if there are academics who study prisons, if there are people in government or local government who deal with prisons, then speak to them and they will be able to tell you where to get the data quickly, or they might have access to it. Picking up the phone is often the quickest way to find out something.
Okay, I have a friend who I live with that she actually studies criminology and she studied.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, should I interview her or?
Don't interview her, just pick up the phone and say, where would you get this information, or who would you ask?
Okay.
And then get another phone number and ring that up and say, right, same questions, until you find someone who knows where to get it. I better stop now because we're at 11.
Okay, no worries.
Which is our guest.
Thank you.